Attention, bobsled riders! You will soon be embarking on a thrilling podcast down the icy slopes of the Matterhorn. So please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the bobsled at all times. Auf Wiedersehen!
Hello, yodelers. We are the Matterhorn Yodelers. I am your host today, Japheth, with
Jackie.
and
I'm George Lucas. I just want to talk about this movie that tried to rip me off and laugh at Disney for failing.
Okay, George, a little bitter.
wow, George, nice to have you here, Peter. We also have a special guest,
Hi.
Father Yoda.
Father Yodeler.
There we go. It's been a long
Did you
time.
forget your name?
I feel like I've been in a black hole somewhere.
Yes, we are exploring Disney's black hole, the black hole movie,
We're not talking about the company that's a black hole. We're talking about
where things get sucked in and the life is drawn out and then it spits it out and we watch it on the screen and give them lots of money.
No, there's no spitting out after they suck your wallet in. There's no spitting out.
It
It's
just
just
absorbs
gone.
it.
It absorbs it, and they leave you an ending where you're like, what is that? And they're going to be like, we don't know either. So, we are going to talk about The Black Hole, the movie. I'm going to play this. Where's my overture? Oh, I got to play it. There we go. So, we're going to sit here for 2 minutes in the dark and listen
Okay.
to music and realize, oh, my TV's not broken.
I
Yes.
was so confused at the beginning.
Oh, you're not used
The
to
overture.
overtures. Okay.
Well,
I'm
there's
used-
nothing on the screen,
Right.
too.
I'm used to overtures, but like there's nothing on the screen, so I'm going, okay, if this came out in the movie theater, you're just sitting in the dark and you're like, is this broken? Or
I had the same issue with my TV all this week where I'm like trying to put on like the Mario movie and it's not working, but I hear the audio. Well, I thought it was the same exact thing.
Right.
And no. I had to skip ahead and I'm going, oh, good. All right, everything's good. It's just the last overture Hollywood ever like put out.
Right.
To give you some context, back when they did overtures for movies, they didn't do preview. They did some previews and so on, but right before the show, before they dimmed the lights all the way, they would play the music and it kind of guided you. Oh, get away from the concession stand, get in your seats, get in the mood for the movie. It was done that way, and then the lights would go down. So it wasn't like you were
Would
in
the
total
curtains go
black.
up too?
Well, it
like the
depended on
Cine Capri
theater.
or-
The Cine Capri, yes, it would.
okay, so it was kind of like a final call for
Right.
the movie.
Instead of doing that little kind
Flashing light in the lobby, like they do for Broadway shows or whatever.
of they would have the music to kind of set the mood, which may have scared some people and they left the theater. But I don't know.
Going, what is this music?
Did you
This is not John Williams.
Did you ever see this movie in the theater?
I did not see it in the movie theater.
Okay.
So when did you first see this movie?
It was probably on The Wonderful World of Disney sometime in the 80s. when
So,
it
so
came
the
on TV.
censored version.
It could have been censored.
Yes.
I can't remember whether it was edited for television, but
It
most
was.
everything was. So
Don't they have the pop-up going, this has been modified, basically so it can fit on your TV. It's not meant.
Well, there was some swearing in this movie.
Oh gosh darn it.
It was the first PG movie.
PG movie.
Thanks for stealing all my interesting facts. Whose job? Who's leading this
There's
thing?
the one fact I knew.
Yes, as Jackie stated, it was a PG film. So it's that like Disney breaking away and you have it distributed by Buena Vista,
What year?
1979.
79. So that way, everyone knows how old this movie is. So this is post Star Wars. A New
2 years
Hope.
after
46 years? Is that where we're at now with that? 46?
first Star Wars.
For Star Wars? No. Is it?
we're 46.
46 years. All right, I got mental math still.
We
a
are
gold star.
44 years of the black hole.
Yes. Yeah, and so with
we should be celebrating in 6 years the big 50th.
The 50. We'll have a reprise.
I can't wait to see the ornament they come out with. You know how Disney has different ornaments that they have at the Disney store with the like,
Hey,
50
the
years.
ship is interesting. I mean, it's up there with the Nautilus.
I would want the black hole like
Ah.
glowing and like.
I just want the robot.
You want the robot? Which one?
Which one,
Maximilian?
Vincent or Bob?
Bob. The
Oh, you want
country.
Only-
The country one.
Only with a country
Slim
bumpkin.
Pig.
Yeah, Slim Pug. Yeah, Slim
Pickens.
Pickens. Yeah, is
Yes.
the voice. He's the guy from Dr. Love Strange that's writing the bomb
Yeah.
all the way down.
Yeah.
That's that voice right there. They weren't credited for the movie. They didn't
don't
put their
think so.
voices in.
Hey, and Roddy McDowell's one of my favorites. So
He was Vincent.
yes.
I wrote some notes. I was like, oh yeah. So this will give context to the time period. Star Wars comes out in '77, and like opens the door to Hollywood, going, "Hey, space is cool. Space is in. All right." So during that time period, what comes out?
Star Trek came out the same month.
Same
The
month.
same month. Oh man.
No, Paramount, you really burned my britches. And that was Bob saying that. He didn't have any britches too.
Wait, Star Trek came out the same time as Star Wars, or
Black Hole.
Black
Black
hole.
hole.
Oh, okay.
It was the same month, like 2 weeks apart from each other. It's like, who thought that was going to be a good idea?
Well, it's the merchandise because they made a big deal. They're like, Star Wars made lots of money with merchandise. We're going to get in there right for Christmas and everybody's going to want a Maximilian and one of those humanoid droid things. And like, they really they try to push the merchandise and boy, did it burn.
But it breathed probably good life into Star Trek, because if anybody went to see the Black Hole and then Star Trek, they probably say, wow, this Star Trek movie's great.
Even though it's probably one of the weakest ones. I actually, with the Star Trek movie, I actually appreciate for that like philosophical
Yes,
mind.
it's a cerebral
Cerebral movie, exactly. And
It's not a heroic movie. It is a cerebral movie.
yeah, and Black Hole, can you classify it, now watching it, as a Star Wars movie? Is it a space,
They can
or is it a disaster film?
That's what I kept seeing online, was that people were comparing it more to disaster films of that time.
like Tower Inferno,
Right. Or
the
the
Poseidon Adventure.
Adventure, yes.
Yeah. I remember the lady in that movie where she's like, "I'm too fat, I can't fit."
Yeah.
I thought Black Hole was kind of comparable to like the Space 3000 or
2001. A Space
2001.
The
Yeah.
ending
The ending
certainly is along that lines, but falls far short. My parents took me to see 2001 twice when it was in the movie theaters. Very spectacular special effects. Never been seen before. Totally blown away at me as far as just even before you get to the ending special effects, just the space special effects were just phenomenal. And so
It's so real that people even question whether Stanley Kubrick filmed the moon landing. That's how well it was, where people are going, "Oh yeah, the moon landing looks just like that." I bet you so there's always that Stanley Kubrick filmed it, the whole moon landing. So that tells you how good and realistic people believed it could be, and how well they did that movie. And it's considered one of the top sci-fi, space sci-fi films.
Oh, yes. Huge.
And I had never watched it, and I watched
Yeah.
it after watching this movie because I was like, this ending kind of looks like that. Have I really watched the whole movie? And so it is very similar, the ending wise. But before we get into the nitty gritty of this movie, we don't want to spoil it.
Oh,
Because everyone here is just dying to be like, what is this movie? Oh my goodness.
I can't wait.
I was like, you have
put
to
this on my
watch it
watch
just
list.
to know how interesting it is.
Yes. So I'll give the basic plot without giving any spoilers.
You could give spoilers, and you're still not gonna understand.
No.
We are holding out for the one or two people that are going, I do want to see this. You know, we've talked about
Do you
it.
think we'll convince anyone to watch The Black Hole?
I hope so.
I think that there'll be at least one person. that'll
Disney
be like,
Plus
"All right, I'll
is
put it
going to
on."
see a huge uptick
They are.
on black hole viewings
all
after this
five.
podcast.
We'll get 5 people that'll watch it. We'll be like, man, we got 5 more. We got at least listen, because we all watched.
Yeah,
it,
we
so-
all watched
So
it.
8
so-
people watched.
We
the
will
Black Hole
probably
recently.
convince them to make a series.
They're like, hey, we gotta bring this back. This is it. So the basic plot is a research vessel finds a missing ship, the USS Cygnus. Scientists on the edge of on the black hole, a mission to find habitable life. You know, that's the basic, like, that's what they're doing out there, and they find this ship, and it's by a black hole, and this scientist is on this ship, you
Yes.
know, and it's almost an escape from the ship by the end of the movie. So that is the basic plot for it. We'll get more into it. But what do you recommend? Do we see it?
If you're gonna go watch this movie,
Commit.
to be,
It's
If
not
you-
a
if-
passive watch.
it is not. You need to pay attention because
There's 3 different ways this is how you could interpret this
yeah.
movie.
So like, if you're watching this movie expecting to see like, I want to see a good space movie, this is not it. I would give it a 1 Mickey bar.
Hey, I thought the same thing.
But if you get a group of friends together,
Mine fell on the floor before I put it out
Right.
there.
It's
Right.
a great movie to make fun of.
now if you get a
Yes.
group of friends together to watch, let's watch a really cheesy space movie. This is great movie for that. And I would say 5 stars to like watch it with a group of people just to have fun with it.
It has, you can definitely science mystery, theater 3000.
Yes.
You could just have fun.
oh
But,
yeah.
but,
Making fun of
if
it.
you're a Big Bang Theory sci-fi fan, you know, if you're in that part with them, of course, then you've probably already seen it.
Probably.
But
Yeah.
if you haven't and you're a sci-fi nerd, yes, you should watch it.
Hey, but I actually, there was some, you know, they're talking all this like, you know, science jargon, and there was one thing I recognized a phrase that they said, and they talked about the Rose, was it the
Rosenbridge.
Rosen Bridge, and I go, oh, I remember that from Thor, because that's what they described Thor's.
So Thor was referring back to
Black Hole, yes.
Oh,
You did it. You brought Marvel into it.
Brought
Marvel. Oh,
So
this
Black Hole is
exciting.
part of the.
the Marvel,
Marvel
universe.
Universe.
You know what? You want
Ooh.
another connection to Marvel? Jack Kirby, which we discussed in our last podcast, or
One of our last.
one of our last ones. He was a key comic book animator for Marvel, and he was, you know, did majority of the big ones, you know, for
Right.
Marvel, and he did 6 comics for Black Hole, and it didn't really catch on with the population.
Ooh,
Shocker, right?
should see if I could locate one of those.
Okay, and so since we're talking about merchandise, my little fun, interesting fact, since it did not so great in the theater, and so the merchandise didn't sell as well, that merchandise is super rare. So watch it. So if you're a Goodwill hunter, you're not Goodwill hunting, but a Goodwill hunter, you're going around, look for those action figures. Just a basic one is like between $30 to $100. And if you can find a humanoid one, like the ones where we'll talk about who they are.
Right.
The
robots.
the
We can-
robots,
we-
the
we can
Borg. We'll call them
them
like the Borg,
Yeah,
like
sure.
the Borg characters. I saw one on eBay, $12,000.
Ooh.
The lowest one I saw for that, $3,000. Talk about super rare, because who wants a semi-dead character that's wearing a hockey mask or a fencing mask the whole movie? No kid wants that. All right, it's not even. He doesn't even have a gun. He just stands there and he's just a robe and he's just on a computer like.
I could just imagine, like, at time, it's like Christmas time, and the kid's like, I want the Millennium Falcon, I want the Star Wars toys, and the parents can't get it, right?
And you get the
they
USS Palomino.
you get the black hole choice.
Oh, great. I got a Vincent. Oh, at least yours isn't broken. No, Bob was meant to be broken. It's just like, oh, how disappointing. You know one kid got the knockoff
Yep.
ones from the, like, well, man, that Millennium Falcon's super, well, that's like Clearance Center right there. They should get that.
This is a space movie, right? It's all
It's the same
related.
thing.
It's the same movie.
Use your imagination, kid. Back in my day, we had sticks and mud. So yeah, basic plot. So not very high. How about you, Dad? What do you like? What do you rate it? 1 out of 5 Mickey bars.
2.5.
2.5.
Give
Okay.
it 2.5. I mean, I got some new insight on it today, and so that made me view it differently. One, I think about the era that it came out in.
Right.
This is the era of the 70s movies, and everybody who was making 70s movies at the time were basically making thought-provoking or depressing movies where the hero dies at the end or something like that, which is one of the reasons why movies like Star Wars and Rocky were so huge, because they had hero intensive aspects to it.
You don't
And
think these characters were big heroes?
No, I don't think there were
Vincent
much
is
in the
the
way
hero.
of
Vincent is the hero.
He's the
Yeah.
closest thing, and he does not look like something you would
I
root
like the
for.
coward in it.
Oh, Harry Booth, the reporter.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
The,
was...
the other part is that the director and the writers were basically TV writers and directors. They had not, this was the first thing that they really had done, maybe one or two, but this is certainly the biggest thing they did, and probably the biggest thing they were ever going to get to do afterwards.
Yeah.
And when I looked at it with the view of,
I thought
if
the director
saw
was the
this-
Freaky Friday guy.
If I saw,
The director was the Freaky Friday guy.
was he?
Eventually, so they went through so many writers and so
Yes,
many
they
producers.
did.
Like Kirby died. He was the executive producer. They're like, we're gonna bring this back, and then he died and he retired. He retired. He didn't die, then retire. He retired, came back, died, and then they're like, that would have been freaky. This is like a dead man wrote this. Let's go to the black hole. Okay, dude. All right. Let me die. No. So yeah, they kept going back and forth. Eventually, Ron Miller, the executive
Right.
of Disney, the CEO, basically
Walt
takes
Disney's
charge.
son-in-law.
His son-in-law took in charge of it, and it's
who didn't know anything about making movies.
no, but I guess nobody else wanted to touch this thing, and so he's like, "All right, we're doing this. We've already thrown so much at this. We might as well get something out here." But it went through so many writers and directors, and it just, as you watch it, you'll see her like, "What am I watching here?"
Yes.
Like,
But when I look at it, the view of made for TV, if I saw this as a made for TV, I think I got out lucky. This is actually pretty good for what I would see on made for TV. I thought
Right.
I thought they elevated their game. Probably the writers not so much, but the director, I think, actually pulled it off pretty good, considering what he had. And again, they still had that mentality of what's a good movie, and they're thinking about 70s mode, old style.
Yeah.
And they're thinking, oh, Star Wars, it's about space. Let's make it about space. No, it's about the heroes
Yeah.
and the hero moments and the John Williams hero music. You know, it's
Yeah.
it's
Not
not
the.
wait, here we go.
Not the James Bond.
It is. I was listening to it and I go, "This
It's-
sounds like James Bond."
it
I looked it up.
is.
It's James Bond. It's Gary.
No,
John Barry.
Yes, John Barry.
We were watching the movie, and Mark made the comment. He goes, "This is like a Doctor Who episode."
I
Yes.
thought the exact same thing. This is a
With
good
the
Doctor
Cybermen,
Who.
with
Yeah.
the
Oh,
Yeah,
Cybermen,
sure.
yeah.
Where you show up on a spaceship, you don't know exactly
Yep.
what's going on. You figure it out, and and you blow things up and you leave. Yeah, that's pretty much, except for the ending. Doctor Who generally does not end, except for when he goes to E-Space. It doesn't usually
It would have been kind of
end.
fun to see the TARDIS like floating in there.
It would have
Just like-
been much better.
Yes.
Now that Disney has Doctor Who, they should remake it
Does Disney
With-
have Doctor Who?
Well, they have distribution.
for everywhere
Of the
except
new
for
ones.
in the UK. So they
Right.
distributed everywhere.
so they get a
else.
different Doctor Who? Is it like Survivor in
No,
Australia?
it's the
and-
same
Well-
Doctor
well,
Who, but they can't
Doctor-
distribute it on Disney Plus UK.
Right.
they're calling him Doctor Where?
No.
How about Doctor How?
No, it's going to be BBC. Will be for if you're in England.
Yeah.
We'll have Doctor Who,
Come
but
back in
everyone else
November.
will be on Disney Plus.
In November,
all
you'll
right.
even see David Tennant back as the Doctor.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
So yes, I agree. It is like Doctor Who. So if you like Doctor Who,
It's
It-
Old Doctor Who.
yeah, I'm not saying new, but it has that Doctor Who kind of feel to it, where you watch it and
Yes.
it's got more of that feel that if you're like, let's compare it to Star Wars, it is not Star Wars.
No.
It's closer to a disaster film.
It's somewhat closer to Star Trek, but not.
Yeah, not.
It has the exploration aspect
Yes.
of it, but like it's like years way before. It's closer to our time and on our space exploration of our current time period than it is
I
to
think
Star Trek
they,
time.
They definitely give a more realistic view of what the
No
future
warp
of
drive.
space
Travel.
life, space travel would look like. Like we're still floating and things like that. Like the only reason why they went to the spaceship because they're like, oh well, they're like floating. There's no gravity. There's gravity here. They've created some sort of thing. Let's check it out.
It's not going anywhere. All right, let's go see if we can, it's a failed mission. Let's figure out
Right.
what happened and we
Right.
can. I mean, if you're an explorer, wouldn't you want someone to know why you didn't make it so
Right.
that you can learn from them? I think that's part of what they're supposed to do when you're in that space exploration. So, all right, so we're all in agreement that it is not a
not
great
good.
movie, but it's great to watch and just the train wreck and just the silliness of it, and you can have a really good time watching it.
Yes.
So
it is fun to watch to say, what happened with this movie?
exactly. You're always asking that question, like, why did you do that?
And honestly, like, you don't necessarily feel that way as you're watching the movie. You watch the movie and you're like, okay, like you're following along. You're like, okay, all right. And then you get to the last like 10 minutes and you're like, what is going on?
It is,
Yeah.
and
Where did we go? Like, did somebody just like, you know what? Let's pop some shrooms and finish writing this thing out.
It
And
was-
that's what's like.
I-
Might have done better had they just trimmed that 10 minutes off, save the
They should have just
special
put
effects.
the music and a black screen.
cue. Like cue some music. It is, yeah. The ending is one of those like I don't get it. And I watched a little bit of a YouTube interview with the special effects. One of the members of there. His dad was the super effects. The
Matt Painter?
yes, he was in charge of it, and he explains. He goes, they started the movie without an ending. And you're just thinking to yourself, like,
That's always a bad idea.
That
here,
sounds like
let's
what
paint
they
a
decided-
room without knowing what the end color's going to
That
be.
sounds like what Disney did with the sequel trilogy.
You want to see another?
Oh, they totally did that.
You want to
Yeah.
see another train wreck? Watch Popeye. Same
Same thing.
problem. No script. Just let the roll.
Robin Williams will write your script with you. Like, no. Yeah, it has that chaos. And he says, he's like, even to this day, he's like, I don't know what they were thinking. And it's just like, he actually, like, he goes, we should go to Adam and God's finger and the 16th chapel. And he goes, I just did that so I can get a free trip to Rome. Like, and they go, and they canned my idea. But I got a free trip out of it. And you're just like, man, that's how you work the system right
Yep.
there. Yeah, they don't have an ending for it. And so when you watch the movie and you're just going along, you're like, man, it's just a little bit here and there. It's got a TV feel. And then you watch the ending and going, I don't know what. And my wife was all like, this is weird. I don't get this. And I watched this movie first, like Black Hole, and then I was like, let me watch Space Odyssey because I know it has a weird ending. I want to get the full context of the movie. And I was like, that movie's beautiful. And it's all like, that's how you do like a beautiful space movie. I was like, this is a work of art.
Did it have an ending?
And no. It doesn't have an ending, Space Odyssey. It doesn't. He leaves it up there and he goes, it's up for you to interpret.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he does. Then people write dissertations and stuff in college for that. And I think that's where they like ripped it off, going like, we don't have an ending. You kind of like, you go to a black hole, no one knows what's happening. So we're going to throw some things out there and you get to figure it out.
And I thought since it worked for 2001, it'll work great.
No, you know what we should do for this sequence? You know that scene in Willy Wonka where they go down the river? We're going to do something like that.
And it has that effect. But like, so let's go through
Fortunately,
like,
Willy Wonka didn't end that way.
No, it didn't end that way.
you really need a Gene Wilder scene instead of having Dr. Reinhardt going, different lines from the movie.
Or Vincent. What is it? It's like, we are the best. We are the best. And I was like, oh my gosh.
It's interesting. So I'm going to do some bullet points of what the movie's about for us, just to refresh. So the USS Palomino, the hero crew that's going out exploring, finds the USS Cygnus, an old ship by a black hole, and they're not sucked in, and they're just hovering there. So the Cygnus is controlled by Dr. Reinhardt, the lead scientist, and they go there.
He's crazy.
And he's crazy.
Yes.
Basically, the Cygnus is like, your mission's failed, or like Earth says, your mission's failed, come back, and Reinhardt's like, oh, no, I'm not done with this. And so basically he takes control of the whole crew.
And like basically
Well,
kill.
He lobotomizes them, but he tells them like, they all died mysteriously, but I survived.
They all left.
Yeah, they all left. It's
That's what it was. That they all left. They all abandoned ship. I was able to restore the ship, and I've been living here ever since.
yeah, and so you have him, and he's theatrical, and like,
Oh, very.
I love him as a character.
He was a very
He was
interesting.
an interesting character. He actually keeps you drawn in. You're like, what's he gonna do next?
He was the only interesting human character. The other...
Vincent's the next one, and he's a robot.
Yeah, he's a robot.
I think they were trying to go for 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
I thought the same thing.
James Mason is a great Captain Nemo, and I think they were going the same thing. When
They even did that
went
light
with
thing where it hits your
Maximilian
eyes and it's all
Schell.
dark, and he's like, I'll talk to you dramatically like this.
But yeah, they were going for the same thing, and I think they succeeded on that part.
He's
Again, the
isolated for
script-
two decades.
The script was horrible, but I think on that character they probably did good.
I love him. I'm looking for his action figure because I can make lots of money from it. So
I bet you can make one.
So the crew goes and explores the ship, and they see like a robot funeral.
Yep.
Yes.
And then they go and they see the old crew's rooms, and then there's like space shooting, like with
Yes.
the robots.
I loved how they're like dropping off their robot. What was his name? Vincent, yes,
and they
yeah.
find Bob.
Yeah, they drop off Vincent,
Bob.
and they're like, "Oh, looks like you're gonna have fun in here." And I'm like, "When do robots have fun?"
He's like, and they look like they're doing the dance robot from like the 80s. They're like, like it's just.
What was
Well, see, they
their
were,
movements
but
were
it was
horrible.
ahead of their time in '79.
Yeah, no, it was.
What was the name of the sharpshooter? Was it
Star.
Star?
Yes.
Or
Yes. That was okay. So I watched this movie again with the subtitles.
I caught this too. We talked about this
Yes.
earlier.
So there's a part where like, Star challenges Bob to a shoot off, and he cheats to win. But then they have this moment where he kind of shrugs his shoulders and shakes a little bit, and in the subtitles it says robot laughter. There's no
Yes.
noise.
It's mechanical,
No.
robot mechanical
I
laughter.
caught that before. I caught that
And
without the
there's,
subtitle.
There's
yeah.
no noise, but they had to point to write that out as the audio description of it. Even though there's no audio of this robot laughing, he's just shrugging his shoulders and shaking. It's like, what the heck?
somebody who was doing the closed caption was probably saying, "Well, how can I improve?"
I need
the
to
movie by
enhance
the
this. This is garbage. Exactly. I've seen that with Mandalorian, where
Right.
they'll give you clues of what's going on in the scene
Yeah.
that you're not audibly hearing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. So yes, there's
Easter eggs and closed captioning.
yes,
Wow.
there are. And
Oh
I-
yes, there is.
and it's kind of fun. And this was one of those like, let me laugh because this is
Yes.
the whole scene was like, this is stupid. Why is this here? Like now we're westerns because Star Wars is like a western too.
And you get introduced to the character
Bob.
Bob, and
Yes.
he is like a country accent.
He's the same type of robot, an older model of Vincent, but
Beat up.
he's been beat up.
Do you want to know a story about why
Yeah.
he's beat up and why he looks kind of different? Because the model of Vincent is, they built it and it looks good, but they used the clay model of Bob, and the director's like, this is just too new looking. So he took a bat to the clay model, and he goes, that looks right. Yeah. This is good. Let's put this out here. And if you watch it, you're going, yeah, he is made out of clay. Well, Vincent is all like new looking. And so, yeah, that explains that situation there. That was kind of fun to learn that fun fact. So yeah, we go through the explorer, and then they come to dinner in this like nicely like furnished room
Right.
of the ship, and basically this is where Dr. Reinhardt spills his guts out of like, this is what we're doing, and like I'm gonna take the ship into the black hole. And then there's the other doctor on the team, Dr. Alex Durant, portrayed by
Anthony Perkins.
Anthony Perkins. Do you know who Anthony Perkins is?
No.
He's
Psycho!
not Norman Bates. Yes.
Oh, right.
Yes, I remember seeing him. I was like, oh, it's like, it's like Mama's not gonna like this, like. So yes, he's basically Dr. Reinhardt is this scientist that's like, I'm going to explain the unexplainable here, and I figured it all out. And the other doctor's like, oh, you're amazing.
Yeah.
You're
He
a
was
rock star.
fangirly.
Yes, fanboy all the way with this, and the other crew's like, I want to go, and he's like, but you're
We're-
important. You're
we're
going to
uncom-
watch.
I'm uncomfortable. Can we leave now?
Yeah.
Like, you're
Like,
giving
our
me the
ship is
weird
good to go.
vibes.
Let's get out of here.
Similar to 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Yes.
Same thing. The only thing that they missed out is they needed a Kirk Douglas as the...
A whale of a tail, and
I don't think we needed a chipper song.
there was mermaid man.
Face it. Could it have hurt?
It probably wouldn't. Have
I would
hurt.
have liked seeing space like squids out there. We got space whales in Star
Why
Wars.
not?
Why can't we have space squids in the black hole?
The album probably would have sold better.
Yes,
Yeah.
it would.
Well, I did buy one song for the black hole. I had to have that intense. Yeah. Here we go. There we go. Worth the $1.29. Just the. Sorry.
That's the theme of the.
That's the whole
throughout
thing.
the entire movie. You hear
Yeah.
that song.
Except
the
for
whole
the
thing.
the fight scene.
Yes, it's very triumphant. It's yes.
Yeah.
When it doesn't even need to be.
Yeah.
It just didn't match.
It did not match the scene at all.
I think they only paid the composers like he's like, I'll do your movie for this amount. And he's like, we'll only want 30. He's like, then you only get 20 minutes. That's fine. We'll just put it on repeat over and over in snippets. They spliced it.
When you look at the movie and think of what the composer must have thought when he saw it, I think the composer did a really good job
Right.
I
with
think
what he had
so.
to work with.
It could have been worse.
I have a hard time imagining John Williams turning this into
A
a huge
masterpiece.
success.
Yeah. It'd be a hard sell for him. He's like, yeah, this ain't working.
I just see him like watching it, and then you see that like meme where someone's got a garbage can and they got like a like a cord going to the garbage can, like they're listening. That's probably what it is for his eyes. When he
Yeah.
watches, he's like, this is complete garbage. I can't even do this. So yes, we'll go back to the crew. They're having this meal, and then what happened?
Bob takes Vincent and tells him that the crew was all
They're all
killed.
dead,
They're all
yeah.
dead, and they turned into the robots.
Oh yeah. Bob like spills the beans.
Yeah. He's like, you guys gotta get out of here.
It's like, this guy's crazy.
And
You're in danger.
Dr. McRae has ESP
With robots.
with robots.
Robots.
Robots have ESP
I
like
thought that was-
receivers.
I thought that was the funniest thing where he's Dr. Reinhardt was all like, "How did you get communication?" And then he just immediately turns away. Oh, you're ESP with robots, and it's like
He's like, that's cool.
it's just like she
whoa.
didn't even say anything. He just like, "Oh, I know you have ESP," and it's like,
Why? Maybe she used ESP on him.
right? It was just all like, "Wait, how did you come to this conclusion yourself?" Because I didn't come to this conclusion.
it was kind of fun, to pick up on that. Yes, and that's where the Dr. Reinhardt's all like, that's when Alex Durant gets killed by Maximilian.
Yes.
And I love that line where the Dr. Reinhardt's just like, he was a good man. Why did you do that? And then he turns to like Dr. McCrae and she's like, save me. He's going to kill me.
Yes.
And you're like, who's in charge of this shit right here? This is kind of nuts here. And you go, oh, he is nuts right here.
He's been alone for at least
Yes.
10 years, so yeah.
And he was probably crazy before.
But yeah, that was the scene that probably definitely made it a PG movie, right?
Oh,
When he
okay.
took blunder hands to him,
Yeah.
and he's like, "I'll destroy your textbook first, and then I'll get you." And you just see him like, "Ooh!" It was the worst death like ever. Like,
I was like,
It would've been funny if
totally
they, like,
could have
splattered
been like
blood on him.
avoidable because he could have just put the book down and then like duck.
and he's like, "Here, you could just," and you just see the math book spinning around.
That's the part where Disney lost its core audience. It's like families kind of went, no.
Well, I mean, eventually, this is the movie that convinced Disney to be like, we need to have a different brand for these type of movies,
And
that's
it's a
when they came
transitional
up with
piece.
Touchstone.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. So yeah, Dr. McCrae gets taken away to the medical bay where she's getting lobotomized to become one of those like humanoid Borg people.
Yes.
And the captain gets word of it and he comes to save the day.
yes.
And picks her up and she's wearing a tinfoil hat. Did you notice that? It was literally tinfoil.
Yeah.
And I was like, so lesson learned, all those that wear tinfoils, protect yourself from the FBI reading your mind.
That's
It
what they
doesn't
use.
work. That's-
It's prep work for lobotomy.
Yeah, it's prep for lobotomy. So, sorry, doesn't work. Yes, and then there's these gun battles.
It was weird fighting. Like, the whole, where all the robots are lined up on the bridge, just all
Exposed.
exposed. They're just shooting down at the heroes as they're trying to get back to their ship. And, they're shooting them one at a time. And, when there's only, 2 left, that's when they decide to take out the bridge.
Yeah.
There's there's 2 left. Let's blow up the bridge. And then, the last 2 will fall when they could have just done that first. And, 10 of them would have just dropped instantly. Also, many mannequins died in the making of this movie. Many mannequins died.
It was funny to see them explode and going, that's really, really bad. At one point, we'll get into what was bad about it real quick. Yeah, and so after they do the gun battle, then the Dr. Reinhardt's taking the ship into the black hole. And then after that, what happens?
So they're trying to get back to their ship,
The Palomino.
but they get pinned down, and so
the lieutenant,
the lieutenant,
Young
yeah,
Gun.
he comes and saves the day. But then is he the reporter?
He's a reporter.
He's a reporter.
Yes.
Yeah.
He gets scared. And
Harry Booth.
He decides just to
He's like,
leave.
bye.
Do you like how he gets? He's like, "Oh, my knee," and then the lieutenant's all like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, my knee, it's broken," and he's like, he goes, "My leg's broken," but he's holding his knee, and the lieutenant's like, "Oh, that looks. Oh yeah, you should go back to medical," and then he runs off, and Harry Booth's like, "All right, I'm gonna sneak away and escape because these dummies here are gonna die on this ship.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to fly this ship,
I
but
know.
I'm gonna do it anyways." So yeah, he goes back to the ship and he escapes. And then they're shot down by
Dr.
Dr. Reinhardt.
shoot-
He's like, he's going to crash into us. Let's shoot him. And then the ship crashes into him. He's like, wasn't the smartest decision.
No.
I know, the whole thing was let him get at some distance, and then we'll explode him so he doesn't damage the ship.
And then he still crashed into them. And then you have boneless hot wing chicken nugget asteroids
Yes.
hitting
Yes.
the ship.
Yes.
That's what I kept thinking. It's I was watching this I'm hungry now.
I was
I
like,
want
the asteroids
buffalo.
really
Did you
bad.
enjoy the Indiana Jones
Yes.
sequence?
That was actually that was actually not a bad scene, with special effects.
Where it looked like the meteor was rolling through
down.
the spaceship?
Yeah. I didn't mind it, but the chicken nuggets flying up by the ship was too much. And then they get in their little space pod and they're doing little swirls.
Yes.
I was like, this is bad. And then they come to an end and we're like, oh, it's completely
And
open.
to give you what this looks like, it looks like those water coasters
It does.
It looks like those water coasters you go on at water parks, you know, where they shoot you up and down.
And the
through water
graphics
jets.
look like the Laserdisc they'd show you on rainy day schedule
Yes.
in the library with
Yeah.
those CGI. Like it was like, oh man, I'm getting sick. It was
It's like, who designed this ship?
yeah, and so you go through this sequence of like now they're in the vegetable thing, and then like
the
garden, and then like then an asteroid comes through, and then they're getting
It's-
sucked up, but the robots who are heavier than humans are getting sucked up, but not the humans.
Not the human.
And not
No,
Vincent,
no, no,
and
no.
not Vincent.
Not Vincent.
Vincent can fly through.
He
Yes.
can, because he was seen in the beginning. He was floating through. He was able to like.
But it was just like, oh, it's so cold. There's snow.
Well, that's one of the bad things. Where it was one of the bad things I saw was the frozen Bob, where Bob's like freezing.
Yes.
I was like, the robot can feel. He's like, ooh, it's cold. It was so bad. That was one
Yeah.
of my bad things in there.
That was pretty.
So eventually they get to the
there's another shuttle.
they get to what was it, the probe ship.
Yeah.
And they make it there before Reinhardt, and
Well, Reinhardt gets crushed.
he gets crushed by his
a
big
giant
plasma.
TV.
Yeah, his plasma TV fell out of, and he's sitting there's like, "Can anyone hear me?"
me!
Help
I kept thinking of
me.
like Pink Floyd, like, "Hello, is anybody out there?" Like, because he's got all these humanoids that are like, "I push buttons on the screen." Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And so they make it out of the probe, and they're like, "We're escaping the ship." As you're seeing the ship get blown up in the black hole, which was kind of really cool to see.
Yeah.
They did a really good job with the ship. But then like they're on the ship and they're like, "Oh no, we can't escape. He's already like programmed
reprogrammed it to go into the black
it."
hole.
And then that's when you get into the ending. And so I wrote some notes about the ending. So you start off with the spinning cockpit with
Yeah.
screaming voices,
Yeah.
like Wonka Boat.
Yes.
That's what I got. And then you got the spinning eye. Ooh.
Yes.
And then
I
you
was
got-
like, who thought that was a good ship design to like have a rotating?
I liked it when the two guys in the front are like trying to act like they're like, this is really tough. And the lady in the back's like, we're having fun. Like she's like bouncing. And I was like,
it doesn't even look like she has a chair. She's just
she's
kind of like squatting
she's
there.
like the honey, like, what are you working on, honey? And like right
Yeah.
over the chair. Like, it's like, this is, they're like, we just need to finish this up. All right. Just,
Oh, you forgot to mention the most heartbreaking part. Bob dies.
oh yeah, Bob did
the
die.
awkward Bob death, where it's all like,
I can't
"No,
go on."
everything's failing. And then Vincent just kind of slowly backs away. It was just kind of like, oh, poor Bob. I feel an emotional connection right now.
He was dead weight anyways. So yeah, back to the end.
Sorry.
You have floating Dr. Reinhardt. He's older. He's
So,
got
yeah,
like this
like-
beard, like time and space. Like he's time and space are different there, and he's just floating. He's like, "Ugh." Like he's not dead. He's just like, and then Maximilian, who was
Which we haven't really talked about a little bit.
little
but, like,
bit.
he's got this like killer robot.
it's got this
Yeah.
devil look to him with
Yeah.
his eyes.
Definitely designed to look like a children's toy. That
Yeah,
but yeah, like, and it's this really awkward moment where he like
They, like, float into each other.
Into each other. It's like, are they like making out or something?
which I thought he
Like-
died. I thought Vincent killed him with this little like
Right.
drill.
But he just kind of like falls into him, and then all of a sudden Reinhardt's inside the robot.
Was that him? Was it
Yeah.
not? I was like,
or was it in somebody's mind?
I don't know, but it was kind of this
Weird.
floating. Yeah, because then the next scene you have is Maximilian's on top of the rock. So the devil head security is on top of the rock, and you're in this hellish landscape, and then you see the humanoids like walking in a
Well,
cave.
the thing
It's
is,
like
you
these
see
people,
their face. They're skeleton faces.
they're skeleton faces, and you see them just walking there, and I'm like, great. You don't get to die on the ship. You get to crash into this like this hellish landscape and walk on a trail forever. It's like that stinks.
I think they were trying to go because like throughout the movie they were kind of talking about like, oh, I'm going. They kind of made it sort of religious,
yeah, like
heaven
like
and hell,
like the God can touch us
God.
right here, yeah.
Right. And so I think they're like, well, we'll have a heaven and hell sort of sequence, and so
Yeah,
like, they
and that's
kinda
when you
had
get to going through the like Elsa Ice Castle cavern where it's like you get these arches and then you have this like ghost
Floating.
witch like angel floating through and you're just like I don't know what I'm seeing here.
And then you see the spaceship, and then it just kind of like, it's just now in space, floating going towards a planet, and then roll credits.
yeah, it
that
makes
was
it
it.
through
That's it.
the horizon, and then I'm just thinking like, boy, that's very like happily ever after. But I'm all like, they're in a probe in space, no food.
No food. Don't know where they're at.
Oh, probably
They're in a
will
ship
be
they don't even
dead.
understand. Yeah, I was like, it's a
If
really
not,
sad ending.
mentally crazy of what they just saw.
Yeah,
Like it's turned into a Lost in Space moment.
It's a
without a Dr. Smith
Yeah.
to like complain about the whole. That was Harry Booth. Yeah, he died.
Yeah, he died.
it was a very 60s, 70s type ending. Yeah. Very left you.
I'm glad
You're
you can
supposed
explain
to-
that because it's like to us, it's like
You're
this is
supposed to
weird.
leave movies thinking and pondering about them. Not,
did I just
not,
watch?
Not like Rocky and Star Wars where you're going, wow, that was great. You're not supposed to do that at the end of the movie. You're supposed to go out and say, wow, what was that about?
I think I haven't had that moment since I watched. Was it The Majestic?
Okay, yep.
Wait, was that the one? That's. I'm thinking of the one with Christian Bale,
Oh, the magician
the
one.
magician one. Is that what that's called? No.
The one with
It's not the Majestic. That's the Jim Carrey movie.
Yeah, I was
yeah,
going.
yeah, that movie one. It was like, was he the real guy? Was he not?
is it
Was
the-
he communist? I don't know. Like
The Prestige or something. I forgot
Yeah,
what
the
that one.
Prestige. I
Prestige.
think
the one with
so,
Hugh
Jackman.
Hugh Jackman.
Jackman. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And Christian.
That's
Bale.
a fun one to watch. That one got kind of
that one I
lost
was
in
all
time.
like, okay, that's a. What did I just watch, man?
It is so yes, to wrap up the movie, it ends there where they go into the horizon and you're left there going, what was that about? And like I've seen a movie like that. I went and watched like The Cloud Atlas in the theater in 2010, and there was like 6 of us in the theater. And like the guy, I remember the movie end and somebody goes, what was that about? Like he just screamed with his hands up, like with no regard to anybody else. And I have the same feeling about this. Like, holy cow. I've never seen a movie where I'm left going like, at least with like Space Odyssey 2001, you had that transition of like old and then you see like the monolithic like thing and you see the like body turn into like, you didn't turn, but you see next thing you see like a fetus, you know, and state, and then you see Earth, and you're like, okay, maybe I can transition. This is like, where's the transition? Like, it is so weird. And even the guy, like I said, it's like supposed to be a struggle of good and evil. There's really no meaning, and that really just makes me so mad that like it's just like there's no meaning. You interpret what you want, and be like, well, don't give me some sort of garbage. It's like they're playing Mad Libs, like, all right, give me a noun for a hellish landscape,
Great
you know, like
description of this movie.
Mad Lib writing for this. It was Okay, so let's go with characters. Dr. Reinhardt, good, bad, does he
Good.
fit?
I think he was good. He was a good fit
Yeah.
for that.
All right, Dr. Alex Durant, good. Like I thought he was. I thought he was so.
Boring.
He was monotone.
Again,
I thought the crew were all boring,
there wasn't
except for the
really-
whiny guy.
There really wasn't anybody interesting besides Reinhardt and Vincent and Bob. Those are the
Yeah.
interesting characters of this movie.
I agree. Lieutenant Charles Pizer, the yeehaw little
Yeah.
young guy.
Oh yeah.
His acting performance was so bad. He makes Mark Hamill's portrayal of Luke Skywalker look like a Daniel Day-Lewis like award-winning performance. And Mark Hamill's not a great actor.
right.
All right, cue like Luke Skywalker wiping blue milk from his mouth. All right,
It's green.
It's is it blue? It's green.
Well, it's green in the sequel.
Oh, that's right. Blue milk and A
Blue
New
and-
Hope.
yes.
All right.
Okay, you just lost half of the Big Bang Theory audience.
Did
that
I?
had tuned in.
It just, this guy's acting was so bad, and it just, and I looked on the IMDb and it's like, did he do anything else? No, this is one of his crown jewels in his career, and it's.
This is what I'm known for. Ooh, okay.
All right. So, any thoughts on Maximilian, and his
He's a children's toy.
children's toy?
He's an angry robot.
Yeah. It's like
it would have been
He
better.
likes to
It would have
kill.
been better if they made it so that like he was actually the one lady's father, because that's part of the
Oh.
storyline.
They said that's the hook, really. That's what hooks you in, is that you have this crew, and then the doctor, McCrae's like, my father was captain of the boat, the ship.
Of that
And
ship.
you're like, oh, I want to know if he's
yeah.
alive. What's the story?
But they ended
That-
that right away.
Yeah, they did.
It's like, he died. He was a
He
good man.
died.
He was good. Yeah. Okay.
And so like it would have been good if it was revealed that like he was actually in Maximilian
And
or
he's
something
like,
like
I
that.
am your father. No.
Maybe
Yeah.
it was Bob.
Maybe he was
It
Bob.
was Bob.
Oh, Bob.
He's like, you sound like my father. And she's like, Dad. And he's like, huh, that would have been really interesting. Like, the cue. All right, let's go into the ships. Do we
Oh,
like?
wait.
What's
I
your
wanted
thought?
to talk about Robert Forrester as the main hero, the captain of
Yes.
the ship,
Yes, Robert Forster. Yeah.
because he to me, he usually plays a heavy, usually a bad guy, and I think that kind of
Or that
came
cop.
out-
He plays the cop detective.
Yeah, and I think that came out too much. They needed some of that lighthearted, like which is what we were trying to turn to in the 70s.
Is it what Vincent
with,
was?
You
Well,
know,
Vincent was the
Indiana
lightheaded.
Jones and everything else. You need a hero with that's not just all business, serious.
It's true.
We gotta go. You need some of that. Harrison Ford, lightheartedness, crack a joke.
I'm just gonna go
Yeah.
and chase after stormtroopers for no reason.
Right.
you need some kind of lightheartedness, and
That's what was missing with
I
him.
don't want
Yes.
to. I don't want to fault him as an actor, because I know how it is as an actor to you get caught up in a role like that and saying, "Okay, this is my goal. My goal is to get off this ship."
I think he
prepare
just
to
showed
go,"
up and
you
started
know?
acting. He's like, all right, let's do this.
But we really needed, somebody we could sympathize with.
There was, no depth with him. It's all business. Yeah, I agree. All right, let's go into costumes. I thought they were like very
Pretty-
utilitarian jumpsuits. Was that kind of like the color schemes? Did you see that same kind of color scheme in Star Trek motion picture?
Yeah,
And
that was not inspired to, not going to win any
Nothing
Academy
for there.
Awards like Star Wars.
No. The ships. Do we like the model ships there? Do we like the portrayal of them in the movies? I thought they were really cool
I thought
It
looking.
the
looked
ships
like a
were good.
sideways Eiffel Tower.
It's true. It does look like
It
there was
looks
moments.
like a sideways Eiffel Tower.
But that's all right. It was still cool enough, I think.
Okay, I had a question. So when like the ship was blowing up, and again like the vehicle that transports them to like a different part of the ship, it's like so chill and nonchalant.
They didn't even have a fan with their hair.
Yeah.
Like, that's good. We don't need that. Yeah.
We're gonna mosey on to the
yes,
shuttle.
as the ship is blowing up.
Were there any sets on this movie that blew you away? I really liked the bridge
Yeah, where they were eating. Oh, the bridge
for the Cygnus
Sure.
I
with the
think-
colors.
I think the aesthetics of this motion picture were
Right.
all in all, considering the time period.
Right.
They aren't up to par with Star Wars, but hey,
they even asked Star Wars, like, can you guys like help us? And they're like, nah, we're busy.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, they try for the editing software. They try to get the same stuff, the
So
same
they had to build
motions
some of
and
it
stuff.
themselves.
And so they said, yeah, because it was being used for other project, which wouldn't surprise me if it was Star Trek. And so Disney's like, okay, well, we'll just do it ourselves. And so
I think they did well up to the last 10 minutes, which is so much like 2001, but falls so short of
Right.
2001.
10 years later, and it looks worse. Good job, guys.
Yeah, it's as exciting as when JFK told, at the end of the decade we're gonna go to the moon, and we make it to the moon, and then George Bush says, okay, in about 20 or 30 years we're gonna go back to the moon.
It's like,
And you
really?
kind of go, wait a minute, we've already been there. Why are we
Why does
going
it take so much
back
longer?
20 to 30 years? That's kind of the impression of those final 10 minutes is not good.
Why did we go backwards with this? Yeah. So yeah, with the special effects, we mentioned with the asteroids, do we like it? What was we mentioned? We like
Yeah,
the.
asteroids
The
did not.
glowing. No.
Did they ruin it for you guys a little bit?
That
Yeah.
was a low point in the special effects. Yeah.
Flying boneless
like-
chicken nuggets.
Like it's just like they just looked weird. Yeah.
Flying
Like you,
turrets.
I couldn't even tell you. Like I thought they looked like I felt like I was watching Body Wars, like red blood cells. That's what I felt like I was seeing, like hitting the ship. Had no idea they were meteors or whatever. It's like okay, some mysterious objects hitting some red.
They had to
glowy
explain
thing.
what it was
Yeah.
for you to understand.
Mhm.
Did we like the going through the black hole scene?
It was
Like the swirling aspect.
No.
You didn't like that?
No,
I got
that's
sick from
definitely
it.
the
Like-
most disappointing part of the movie is the last 10
Not like
minutes.
going through, but like outside before
oh,
they go
outside
in.
at the very beginning
yeah,
when
so like
you
when
see it.
did you like? Yeah, like I love seeing the black hole.
From the distance,
the
it
distance,
was fine.
yeah.
Again,
I kept
for-
watching it. I kept looking at it.
when they get into the black hole. That's what they.
Yeah.
But the distant shot, no, I was okay with that. Again, those special effects, the setup special effects, great.
Great. Yeah.
It's funny though because I was on Wikipedia and they were saying that I forgot what award, but it was nominated for best writing for some award. And I
It
like,
was
"What?"
the Saturn writer, and yeah, I saw that too. The writing one, and I was like, boy, how bad was the year? Because somewhere in Star Trek, it's like Beeger's like, I don't like that. I'm Beeger. No, your name's Voyager. No, Beeger. All right, so what were some good points in there? I put in the black hole was cool. The CGI opening was pretty cool. That sucked me in a little bit.
Yes, I thought that considering where computer graphics were at,
It was
I thought,
the longest CGI scene up to that point in movies.
Mhm. You can definitely see where there was a jumping off point of creating Tron. You know?
Yes.
And that's what basically this does. And I like Bob and Vincent together. They were
were a good team.
They were a good team. I think they saved the
It was-
movie
it was
from
actually-
being a complete dumpster
I
fire.
didn't like their button eyes. The black.
Oh, the
button
eyes were goofy,
The
but
eyes
the
were
personalities are
bad.
good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the bad. What did you guys think was so bad at the top of your mind?
The design of the robots.
The robot design was bad.
The writing. It
So,
was
yeah.
the writing. I
Yeah.
blame the writing.
Yeah, I go. Here's my list: Lieutenant Charles Pfizer. He's just horrible. Vincent's eyes.
Yeah.
The robot acting, how they move.
Yeah.
The ship exploration scenes. I was like, this is just too long. Star, the whole gunslinging scene with him.
It's weird.
That was
Actually,
weird.
I think it may have helped
I
the
actually
movie.
didn't mind that
I
scene.
think
Yeah.
I think it brought
It's
some
comically bad.
It brought,
comedy
it
to
brought
it.
something to the movie.
Where he cheats and bumps the other robot. Like
He's
"Oh,
like, well,
you
I'll do it just
missed."
upside down.
It was some kind of comic
Mechanical,
relief.
comical laugh.
We weren't getting it
mechanical,
from
comical laugh.
any of the
That's why I'm
actors,
gonna laugh in public.
so it had to come from the robots.
It did. Yeah, the actors weren't giving. Except for like, I'm playing straight man to a robot, you know.
Well, I
That
just
was-
love
yeah,
the
that was-
fact
that
that
was
it's-
one line,
It's
yeah.
like the robot's solution to losing was I'm going to kill myself. I'm
Yes.
going to self-destruct, and then Vincent's all like, I hate playing with sore losers.
It was bad. So yeah, there's the destruction of the security robots. Dr. Durant's death by blender, I thought was just bad.
It was ill-advised for the target audience of Disney moviegoers.
I agree.
It goes up there with Eating Hearts and The Lone Ranger.
Yeah, that was like, are we zombies now? What's going on?
Yeah, that those did not work.
Then you got Dr. McCree's tinfoil hat scene,
Where
where
it's
like,
like,
the animation.
There's nothing holding her down.
she's like a
get
baby is
up.
swaddled. She's like, I can't. I'm getting a tinfoil hat.
I can't sit up at any moment in time. No.
Yeah, and like there's the captain and her. Like, are they together? And they won't even kiss. They're like, well, I'll just do a side snuggle
we'll
face
hold
thing
hands
as we're about to die.
as we're about to
Yeah.
die. Like I don't know if
They probably threw that in there to say
We need
this
a love
movie
interest.
has
yeah,
gotta do
what's that a
something.
love interest?
It was probably them just saying, do something here? Because
No making out, just like snuggle.
we're not gonna change the script here, but let's give the audience something.
He's like, I hear in Star Wars they got a brother and sister making out in Empire Strikes Back. We can't go too weird, all right? Yeah, I had an issue with the frozen Bob robot.
Frozen Bob. That was just he's
bad.
shaking like he's frozen.
And-
oh, poor Bob.
And then there's the air and the black hole where you can just float around and,
just
breathe.
yeah,
and not-
breathe,
yeah. And then, of course, the
You were
ending.
talking about it during the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and there was also like when they're like, there's a vacuum and it's like,
They're climbing into the
Ah.
shuttle.
oh, they're coming. Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. And then the ending is just so
Yeah.
bad. So bad. Okay, so final thoughts on it, Peter?
It's a really fun movie to watch with a group of people.
It's
But
a
if you're
great-
by yourself and just don't go into this movie thinking it's like, all right, I'm gonna be optimistic. Don't be optimistic.
You need to hype this movie to how bad it's gonna
Right.
be.
Yeah.
Okay, before the final thoughts, what would you do to fix it? You were
Ooh.
assigned to fix this movie before it comes out. What do you do?
Change the music.
Music is a big part of it.
I
wait,
would
wait.
change-
There's nothing wrong with it, Jackie.
you know-
It's so worth
You know what's
$1.29.
funny is you've had the music going on through the whole time, and you just
I just go
it's the
up and
same
down.
thing.
I just lower it down.
Yeah.
Yes, it's on repeat. And it just does it. And that's all you need to buy from this. I think for me, one writer, they should have just like, hey, let's write one cohesive part with an ending.
Can someone who's actually written a
A
made-for-movie
Yeah.
movie write for the?
I felt
it's
like if the robots could talk, other than Bob,
Yeah.
none of the other robots talked. I felt like if there was more interaction with the other, like there would have been. I felt like there would have been more substance than them just kind of like randomly coming to conclusions, which happen to be 100% correct. That robot's limping. There must be a human inside. Like, oh come on, like.
or what if
They turn on his mic and he's like, I hurt my knee in pickleball. Like,
or what if they found her father and saved him, and
Yeah.
got him off the
Yeah.
ship?
That would
Now,
have
wouldn't
been
that
way better. It would have a more motive to it because it's just like they're on the ship and they're like, we gotta fix it. They fixed it. They're like, okay, we gotta go. But oh, these people could still be alive.
and they totally killed like saving any of them. It's like, Bob's like, nope, they're dead. There's no saving them. Move on. You're like, all right.
They're more
That door is shut.
They're more machine now than man.
Yeah, I think that may have been the plot addition that could have made a huge.
Save
that could have
people,
been
take the ship
fairly
out,
simple
and
to
go
put
home.
in there, and yeah.
Return them. Yeah, save the crew. That probably would have been,
A lot better.
a lot better.
And it may have been better if the bad guy actually went through the black hole and they just watched from outside.
Yeah. And he's reporting, he's like, it's so cool in here. There's chicken nuggets flying by. This is great. I didn't account for this, but this is so much better. And there's this swirling giant eyeball and my cockpit is spinning around. That would have been cool to see his play-by-play. And they're like, boy, I'm glad I didn't go in there. I need Dramamine, something to break it up. I think it, like,
I think they should reskin Spaceship or Mission Space for the black hole.
Oh, I was thinking Space Mountain.
Space Mountain.
I
Oh,
think
Space
that would have been
Mountain.
a great promo for the movie if
Came
they
out
had
around the
made-
same time.
Yeah, 2 years later.
You
or
imagine this
whatever.
playing as you're going through the whole ride, as you're going up, and you imagine you break down as you're trying to get to the final climb, and you're like, we're gonna get there someday. Someday, we're gonna get to the top,
This
and
is
nothing
like
happens.
The music that like you would go mentally crazy to.
It matches so well. I mean, you can get up to the top and you can see the
Man.
spacecraft in the distance, and then what do you do at the end? You're spinning in the black hole.
The next time I'm riding Space Mountain, I'm gonna plug in my earphones
Listen to Black
and
Hole.
listen to Black Hole.
No, I'm all Red Hot Chili Peppers overlay. That's what I want. Boo! All right. Final thoughts.
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
Taylor
Oh
Shake
no.
it
no.
off.
No. Any final thoughts, Dad, with this?
No, I think we've covered it well.
I think
as
we
much
destroyed
as
it.
We've beaten this dead horse. We've beaten it back to life.
And the funny thing was, I referenced us doing this episode way back when we first.
Yeah,
started
you're like,
this
you'll be
podcast.
surprised how bad it is. No, you're like, you'll be surprised. I'm like, yeah, surprised. I was like, what did Peter exactly say?
I remember when I put it on today and I looked at the beginning and I said, wow, this looks way better than it did. They spent money to make it look this good.
Yes.
It looks good.
Oh, I forgot.
Horrible story.
The
but
hull that moves like sheets.
Oh yeah. The that was really bad. I
Oh,
noticed that.
the hull of the ship was like waving like it was sheets.
Yeah, when they're escaping, it was when the gravity's starting to crush them, and it's like, yeah, metal, it's more fluid now. Yeah. no.
Okay.
It
Forgot
felt like they were
about
on the
that.
backside of another set.
Yeah.
They're like, we can't afford one. You just run back this side. Star Trek will be on this side. Yeah, it's a unique film. I've always been fascinated when Dad got a DVD player,
Yeah, he would always put.
and then
Black
we
Hole.
had no, he didn't play it.
Well, no,
he
he
just
just put
had
that-
it. It was,
but he would
we had
put
two
it in.
DVDs. It was Amadeus
Yeah.
and
First-
Black
No, first night.
First Night.
First
Well, that
Night,
was
yeah.
good. I always like First Night with Sean Connery, and
Yep. No, that one was
And-
good. Yeah.
yeah.
Amadeus is good too.
Oh, I love Amadeus. Is that? But I never brought myself to watch this film because I looked at it, I was like, this is stupid. This is
Even though it's
this is a stupid dad sci-fi. I'm
would
never gonna watch
Joke
this.
around growing up about the black hole movie.
It was
He
the
was-
fun of like the
it
joke
was
of like
the fun
a
of
bad
the
movie,
joke.
and we never watched it.
Yeah.
Well, he would put the DVD in and have it on the menu for the music, believe it or not, for
Yeah.
his to test his sound system.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
remember
when
doing
you
that?
would like move the system.
Like he wouldn't play the movie. He would just have the menu music.
Oh yeah, Q.
He would have this playing.
I was setting up the stereo. Yes, I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
So that music was my first introduction
They should
to
do
this
like
movie.
a Halloween, like horror film of like the black hole, just that music.
So Disney's gonna go and do Halloween mazes like Universal, so we'll do Black Hole.
I
going crazy.
I think instead of like the threat that Dad had of us with watching
We are the
Thomas
best.
Jefferson,
we are the best. That's all right.
I think you should have had us watch this film or just keep the
You would
opening
enjoy
screen. We would've
making fun of it way too much. You would have had so much fun making fun of it.
No, we're not having fun at all. Making fun of
no.
it.
It's probably yeah. I was like, I'm like looking at the clock, going, I need to manage this because we're having a good fun time with this one. Jackie, any last thoughts?
It's a movie that's bad.
Watch it with your friends.
Watch with
Yeah.
friends, family.
If you're
a good time.
there are people that love watching bad movies. This falls on that category.
And be careful about watching other like people talking about it on YouTube. They like try to hype it up like this is like an occult film. It's like no,
No,
it's
No,
not.
it's
This
not.
is
It's
garbage.
bad.
It's bad, but you just have to watch.
to experience
To
it.
experience
It's,
it.
Yes.
it's worth the experience of watching the
is.
last 10 minutes going, what is this? What am I watching?
You have no idea how bad it was growing up in the 70s and going to the movies. This will give you an idea. And why Star Wars was a big
And why
hit.
Star Wars hit when
That's
it
why
did.
George Lucas came to visit to see how well this was going to go.
You're just here for the ego like
Oh,
boost
yes.
right here. I'm gonna end with a quote. I liked it. It goes, "There's an inexorable force in the cosmos, a place where time and space converge, a place beyond man's vision, but not beyond his reach." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Talk about the black hole, but also like in our own
That's where all the money went, just for that one line.
that one line.
Come up with something, please. Anything that'll get people there.
I'll
Yeah.
give you an extra $20. Just come up with a good quote.
They're like,
please.
we're gonna take a third of the money that we're gonna pay our musician, and we'll throw it under the one quote.
During this space movie, no one can hear you scream because you're the only one in the theater.
Sir, stop screaming. We'll turn on the lights. We'll make the movie experience worse. Please don't. Enjoy this film because I know you're gonna go and watch it. I know it. We want Disney to come and write us a big check for boosting their numbers at
apparently,
Disney Plus.
There was a big movement to get a remake done, and then it was actually getting really close to being done.
What, Disney not using an original idea?
I know, right? But apparently, and they had a script written and everything, and then Interstellar came out, and they said, "Oh, it's really similar to that. We can't," and so they just scrapped it.
Sure.
That is such a cop out. Like, oh, dang, they stole our idea. I can't. Oh, that's my answer.
Sure. It was like, how can we save this? Nope, we can't save this.
Oh, it was like Rise of Skywalker. Oh, darn. Stole my idea. You're the same company. I know. We were just in different cubicles.
Disney should have got the same message I got when I saw Star Wars, because up until that time, my whole goal in life is I really want to make a movie, a really good sci-fi movie, a really, really good one. And then I saw Star Wars and I said, okay, somebody's done it. I don't need to do it anymore. And that's what Disney should have done.
Yeah. There's so many forces going into this, but one good thing that does come out of this is that we discussed this on the way here, Peter, is that it opened the door for Disney to leave behind kid shows and be bold. And the next sci-fi movie, what do you get? You get Tron.
Yep.
You know, yes, the special effects team doesn't roll over, but Disney learns from it, and you get Tron, which if you watch, you're asking yourself, like, this is 1983?
Right.
You're like, this is cool.
But it was definitely cool.
And it was original.
Yes.
You know, and if you guys haven't seen Tron, the original one, it is pretty cool.
Yep, the script stunk, but
It's
yeah,
it's
well, it was
okay.
cool.
You're watching around.
Visually, it's a pretty
Visually.
You watch it, and then you're like, okay, this is cool. And then you watch the 2010 one, you're like, wow, this is
Wow.
like fun. Yeah.
Now we got techno music. All right.
Yeah, we got Daft Punk here, like, which is really fun to drive at night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with the lights going, totally cool. All right, going back to the black hole, not great music to listen to. Right? It feels like you're gonna drive into a mountain, and you're like, well, this is the cliff we're driving off of. Oh well.
This should be the climb at Splash Mountain.
And then it breaks down, and we're like, you see the vultures going, well, that's all we got, guys. Because this movie's in the vault, and no one really understands this movie either.
Yeah, so we've got to lock up Song of the South, but we keep Black Hole loose. Where is the sanity?
It's yes. So all right. Well, thank you for listening to our match. We've enjoyed this.
This is so funny.
This conversation has been really fun, and I knew it was gonna be screwy. Watch the movie, and then you could really have more fun laughing with us with this movie, for sure. Please follow us on our social medias, MatterhornYoders, gmail.com, and Jackie's shaking her head going, okay, you got that one right. We've only been doing this for 3 years. We're on Facebook, Instagram. Follow us.
X. We're on X.
We're on Spotify. We're on X.
That's what they call Twitter now.
Yeah.
Or whatever Twitter's called now.
X.
the
X.
platform formerly known as Twitter.
Right.
Yes, so subscribe to us on Spotify. Recommend us to other people. We're just having fun discussing Disney products and where it's going to take us.
Yeah.
And our experiences. And with that being said, Auf Wiedersehen.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Matterhorn Yodelers. Please remember, before your bobsled comes to a complete stop, to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember...
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.